In this episode of the Orange Nerd Show, we are joined by the one and only Matthew Muir. He submitted to me via email a fantastic reimagining of Once Upon a Studio. We'll call it Once Upon a Studio 2.0. Matthew's version is very, very interesting. We're going to go ahead and explain his version, talk about it, break it down on this episode of the Orange Nerd Show. Welcome aboard, everybody, to this episode of the Orange Nerd Show. I have a great panel with me today. I got the Italiano. I got Mr. Matthew Muir. We're talking all about Matthew's reimagined Once Upon a Studio concept. Really, really interesting stuff. We're going to dive into that. And before we do that, I want to introduce my fantastic colleagues here. We got George, the Italiano, host of the Walt Disney World Show here on the channel. Look for new content, by the way, from Citrus Corner. We got a doozy coming out pretty soon, right, George?
We do. It's going to be a nice, juicy, sticky one at that.
It's going to be, as Kaylee calls, a banger.
Banger.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. But the Italiano, if you could let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media.
Absolutely. You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And, of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. There we go. And Matthew Muir, always good to have you on. Your family here on the channel, sir. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. Now Matthew does not have X anymore, but you have an Instagram. So Matthew, what I'll do, because you have a lot of numbers in there and stuff. Well, does your Instagram have numbers in it, or is it different than your Twitter was?
Actually, no, it doesn't.
Go ahead and give them your Instagram then. I'll also link it in the description, but go ahead and let them know what you're in.
You can find me on Instagram at Matthew Thomas Muir. It's all one word.
There we go. You heard the man. So you can find him there, and I will be linking it down below for easy access. So Matthew, let's dive into this. So Once Upon a Studio, we all saw this short by Walt Disney Animation Studios. I think we all loved it. I mean, it was good. It was really, really good. But you had an idea. A concept that you emailed me. I thought it was very, very interesting. Do you want to kind of set the table for us and kind of explain your version of this short?
Yeah, I can do. Do you mind if I present ends? Sorry, I'm not sure how to do it. There it is. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This is basically a full-blown rewrite of Once Upon a Studio, in which a number of characters like Cinderella and also Rapunzel are shown to have a much bigger role in restoring the morale of the other Disney characters, after Goofy falls off the ladder.
Interesting. Now, what was your kind of mindset in terms of giving Cinderella and Rapunzel more screen time in particular? Are those just your favorite characters, or was there a reason connected to like Disney itself that you decided to do that?
Partly because of that, but also because I felt they were so central to Disney. I mean, I know you said that Ed in a previous show, but Walt Disney most likely loved both Mickey Mouse and Mary Poppins to the same extent, but he loved Cinderella. But I think Cinderella at this point is front and center of the Disney brand, and I felt her not getting a bigger role or was a bit of a slight. Do you agree with that assessment, or do you think that plays too much into Walt's opinion of the character?
No. I think you're right. When you brought that up to me, though, I think that she is underrepresented, absolutely. In that short, was it done intentional? No, I don't think so. But I think they could have had more of her in that short. Absolutely. I mean, that's a beautiful animated feature, and like you said, Walt did love that character. Now, how did you incorporate both Cinderella and Rapunzel into your version of the short? You gave them more time on your version, but how did you do that in terms of details?
What I did was, just after Goofy fell off the ladder, and many of those who were gathered, not all of them, of course, but many of them started heading back inside. what happened was Cinderella, Rapunzel, and their respective princes were just watching this whole scene from a distance on, that little spiral staircase leading to the main reception.
Interesting. George, what do you think about that? What do you think about Matthew's idea of kind of incorporating them in this way?
Yeah, I felt it was quite interesting when he did bring it to our attention because I didn't really think really too much of it, just more so just watching the short as it was. But after he had mentioned it and I went back and rewatched it, then I'm thinking, that's quite interesting. And more so proclaiming to Cinderella, I am surprised, maybe not like obviously like a huge part, but I'm surprised because usually Cinderella is a little bit more of a headliner princess. Um, than most of the other ones. So I'm really surprised that they didn't really incorporate her more.
The only Cinderella, if I'm recalling correctly, is in that scene where the prince loses his shoe, right?
Yeah, and Matt acts the Little Mermaid's dog. He runs off with it, and the prince is understandably pissed off, but Cinderella doesn't seem to mind much at all.
Yeah.
But this raises a bit of a question though. Was it? I think it might have been justified to some extent because one could argue that Cinderella being front and center plays too much into Walt's favoritism of the character.
So what you're saying is if they would have incorporated more of your idea, more Cinderella screen time, it would have been a little bit too.
It would have incorporated too much bias towards Walt's verdict.
That's interesting. Now, in terms of Rapunzel, what was the kind of mindset behind bringing that? Because that's a more of a modern character, right?
Yeah, I decided she had to be prominent, and we've already spoken about Cinderella's role. She actually gives a bit of a heartfelt speech to all the characters, as you can see, to try and lift their morale. But Rapunzel and Eugene actually go to check on Goofy to make sure he hasn't hurt himself too badly.
That's great. And you know what, Matt? I'm glad that you added more Rapunzel. It's really kind of weird to me how this is a movie that did very well. This is the movie that in 2010 kind of sparked another golden era for Disney animation. People love this movie, and I don't see a lot of it at the parks or anywhere. And it's kind of weird to me because it is such a popular character and such a fantastic movie. It's strange. Do you notice that, George, with this character?
Yeah, I always kind of describe Tangled to Frozen as like the little kid sister. That that Frozen is the older popular cheerleader, of the group, so to speak, and then Tangled is the younger kid sister that wants to tag along, but has big ambitions, but no one is willing to give her a chance. Sort of, kind of like that. I know that's a bad analogy, but that's how I always saw it. That it always seemed like Tangled was overshadowed by Frozen, and I think it's a much better film than a lot of people give it credit for.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love this movie. It really got me back into Disney animation because I was kind of falling off the wagon a little bit prior to Tangled because some of their movies were like, it was at that time, it was hit and miss. This is the movie that really got me back into it. And then, they had a string of hits after this. Now, Matthew, besides these two, besides the addition of more Cinderella and more Tangled, are there any other changes that you added to this version of Once Upon a Studio?
It was the new rendition of When You Wish Upon a Star that I had to alter the most.
Okay, if you want to go ahead and explain what exactly you made changes for that.
I actually had Rapunzel start it off on her guitar and Cinderella singing the first two lines and then handing over to Belle and the Beast as in the original version. And also Ariel's solo line is replaced with a line by Snow White.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ariel sings her line with the other princesses. And to avoid Cinderella and Belle's voices having to sort of like a piercing falsetto like that of Jasmine or Snow White, it's composed mainly in the key of A sharp major instead of E major.
Interesting. Now, in the official short, I believe it's the rooster from Robin Hood who kind of starts things off, right, with his little banjo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Alana Dale, I think his name is.
That surprised me. that Disney did that because that's not exactly like a hot IP right now, Robin Hood, and that's kind of a deep cutty character in a lot of ways. A lot of people don't really know.
I think that kind of plays into Disney just trying too hard not to be too biased toward any one character, maybe even trying a little too hard.
That's very possible. What are your thoughts on that, George, in terms of their choice of that character? Do you think Matthew's onto something, or they're trying to?
I think it was very risky, not in a bad way, but like just as you had mentioned, that it's a character that a lot of people don't recognize or can relate to. But I like how Disney took that risk in a sense, because a lot of times, you see these movies and these characters, and it's like, well, how come we don't incorporate them more? So I like how Disney kind of took a few of those characters to utilize to say, you know what? This character could be used in a particular way because the rooster was basically the narrator of Robin Hood in the movie. So it's like, well, how can we incorporate him into the short where it would make sense? So he plays his banjo or his guitar, whatever the technical term of it is.
I think it's called a lute.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. So he uses his instrument to kind of start up the music, and with that type of instrument, it gives a soft melody. It's not anything that would be overpowering for the type of song When You Wish Upon a Star is.
Now, it's also interesting. We have a picture here with the fairy godmother, and to the right of her, we have Mickey Mouse. It's interesting. I also found, because we were talking about deep cut characters and stuff, and obviously Mickey Mouse isn't a deep cut character, but this version of him is kind of deep cut. This is what he wore in, I think it was a 1950s era short.
I think it was actually early 1940s.
Early 40s. Okay. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, so early 40s. And I mean, for them to go that route, right? Because they could have easily have had him in his like typical like red shorts and yellow shoes. They could have had him in his very famous and iconic Sorcerer's Apprentice outfit. It's kind of interesting how they picked this version of Mickey. Did you find that surprising too, Matthew?
Yeah, a very bold move, if I may say so. One difference I'd also like to point out is, but I couldn't include Cliff Edwards singing solo as Jiminy Cricket, because the song is composed mainly in the key of A sharp major instead of E major. I had to just resort to scrapping in the Cliff Edwards solo and just having his current actor Joe Ockman and performing the solo, because it happens during the bridge, and then have several other princesses, along with Tarzan and Jane, singing the final verse before Cinderella and the prince gently finish it off, and the pitch modulates to F major.
Nice, Matthew. Now Tarzan and Jane, George, you're a big Tarzan. Well, you're Tarzan / Phil Collins fan, right?
Yes.
So, what do you think about that?
I think it would be quite interesting. I mean, I'm not too familiar with Tarzan and Jane being like the big like singing type of characters, but I think it would be kind of interesting to kind of showcase them in that manner.
Yeah. Well, and that's very much another animated movie that really doesn't get a lot of love with Disney. Yeah. I mean, it got a little bit of love when it got a Treehouse at Disneyland, but now that's no longer there. But that's a beautiful movie. I mean, it really is a beautiful movie. It's a tearjerker too. Yeah.
I feel like, kind of like going off because you mentioned Phil Collins, I feel like that the soundtrack to Tarzan over exceeded the film. Because the soundtrack, as Kaylee would say, it is a banger, because it's like hit after hit. I mean, that soundtrack made Phil Collins like almost be put back on the map from like his early days with Genesis and what have you.
Right.
So
and his first 2 solo albums.
Exactly, yeah, and he won an Academy Award for Best Song, "You'll Be in My Heart." So
nice.
I thought that was quite interesting.
Nice. Well, some of these animated films, you're right though. Some of these animated films, the music does surpass the film itself. I think Hercules is a little bit in that boat too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Go the Distance is an iconic, legendary song, but you don't really see a lot of the movie itself doesn't really land high on many people's lists though. You know what I'm saying? Not that it was a bad movie. It's just not a Beauty and the Beast necessarily, So now Matthew, What else did you add to your version of this? Are these the main changes, or are there other changes that you also included?
There are some other changes beyond this. I then had everyone add Rapunzel and also Cinderella, inviting everyone onto singing the final verse together. And Cinderella even extends this to the audience and throws a quick wink at the camera before we have a massive aerial shot of the entire chorus. And then, just as everyone holds out from singing the final verse, Cinderella and the Prince sing the opening lyrics to "A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes," and then Rapunzel and Eugene sing the opening to the chorus for "I See the Light," and then Aladdin and Jasmine sing the opening to "A Whole New World," and then finally everyone sings the final line of "When You Wish Upon a Star."
That's beautiful. Now, George, you're also see he's hitting all the right notes for you, man. A Whole New World. I mean, that's your jam,
and this
dude.
would be. Oh, sorry to interrupt. This would be a massive rendition played by a massive 111-piece orchestra. And as such, David Metzger wouldn't be able to do it alone. You'll notice in the credits here, I actually had to bring it in an orchestrator called Conrad Pope. Now, Conrad Pope has been working with both John Williams and Alan Silvestri since the late 80s. He orchestrated various films like The Muppet Christmas Carol, The Lion King, the Star Wars prequels, The Polar Express, and even the first 3 Harry Potter films.
Wow, impressive. You know, Matthew, I got to say, I'm really impressed by this. The amount of detail and work you put into this. This is impressive. Really, really well done, sir. Really, really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially with the detail of like more of the behind the scenes, like of the amount of like for the orchestra and the keynotes of, you know, what to hit for what character and what song and what have you. So yeah, very interesting.
It's fantastic. Now, Matthew, is there a place where do you have this up on like a website somewhere where people, like the audience, can like go and check it out and read this themselves, or not yet?
Yeah.
Or
actually, yes, I do. I'm actually on the website now. Just going to put it in the chat. So once we finish in it, you can just put it in the description below.
Yeah, go ahead and thank you. I just saw I got it. Okay, perfect. I will put this in the description below. So everyone at home, definitely, go down there, check it out. It's great. It's fantastic. Now, Matthew, anything else you'd like to add on your version of this animated short?
There is one final scene afterwards, which serves as a nice wind down. It's set the following afternoon where Mickey Mouse, along with Cinderella, Jasmine, Rapunzel, and their respective princes, along with Timon and Pumbaa, and also Fairy Godmother, give the audience just a nice send-off. So it serves as a nice little wind down from the epic climax the audience have just witnessed. And one final key addition you might notice is that Moana's father actually comes back in a small role, played by, Tamora Morrison, who played Jango Fett in the Star Wars prequels.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Wow. Fantastic stuff, Matthew. I'm really impressed, brother. Really great work. And everybody at home, go in the description. The link is down below. Check out Matthew's 2.0 version of Once Upon a Studio, and read it yourself. It's really great stuff. Now, Matthew, are you thinking about doing other works in terms of reimagining other works, and kind of giving it this kind of treatment, like maybe like one of Disney's animated films or something like that?
I already have done, actually. I've actually already done a remake of, I know you haven't seen it yet, but Cinderella, A Twist in Time.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, and you said it was very good. I got to actually. Is that on Disney Plus right now, Matthew?
Yeah, it's available on Disney Plus.
I got to check that out.
With the previous sequel, Dreams Come True, but I would say just ignore Dreams Come True and go over straight for A Twist in Time, because canonically the two who feel out of place, and Dreams Come True feels A Twist in Time, feels far more natural.
Okay. Have you seen these films, George?
I have. Yes.
And how would you agree with Matthew's assessment? Twist in Time is a little bit better.
Yeah, Twist in Time is better than Dreams Come True. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah. Dreams Come True for me kind of reminded me of Belle's Magical World.
Oh, okay.
And also Return of Jafar to an extent.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, Return of Jafar, I actually liked that one a lot. That was actually a really good sequel. And actually, that one had pretty good music. My only quibble with Return of Jafar, which I think is everyone's quibble, was no Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know. But speaking of Robin Williams, he's featured in Once Upon a Studio, which I love that. And that's a beautiful tribute to that man. And I loved how they used unused. See, they could have gone the AI route, right? They could have had like some AI rendition of like a Robin Williams voice, you know, and they didn't do that. They took some unused audio from Aladdin. They put it in the short. I think it was handled very respectfully, and just a beautiful tribute to that man and to that character. So really, really great stuff. But Matthew, I want to thank you so much, brother, for coming on. Maybe we'll do another one of these with some of your other works. I'm really impressed by the level of detail that you put into this. So yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do another show like this, and you can kind of break down some of your other works if you're interested.
Yes, please. I'll see it. I'll see if anything else does come up.
Awesome. So Matthew, if you could just remind everyone of your Instagram information before we head out.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Matthew Thomas Muir.
There it is. And I will link his Instagram in the description down below. The Italiano, George, host of Citrus Corner. If you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. So yeah, everyone down below, comment with your opinions, thoughts, even questions, maybe for Matthew in terms of his version of Once Upon a Studio. We would love to hear from you. Comment down below. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.